Hey, Erin, it's Lane. I just made you host. Erin, can you hear me? Erin? I can't hear you.
Can anyone hear me?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me? It's Lane.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Justin. I enabled the waiting room, so it should just be us, the US chapter. That may be the Lane, maybe, and then Justin and Silvana. So I just put the waiting room on for a few more minutes.
Sounds good.
Silvana, do you have the presentation? I can't hear whoever's on the SCA US
It's
chapter.
Lane.
Oh, now I can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. Great. So
Thank
Erin, I made you host. Do you need me or can I sign off?
Yep, that's everything, Lane. I appreciate you joining to let us in and access the room.
Okay. All right. Have a good day.
Thank you, Dan.
Bye-bye.
Silvana is now the host.
Perfect. You guys ready?
Are you able to share your screen, Silvana? I'm just trying.
Do you want to let them know that we couldn't do a slideshow?
Yeah.
This is the way we have to do it.
Yep. Okay. The only problem is I can't see the Zoom stuff. The Zoom, because I'm in like screen sharing mode on this one, it's not letting me see anything else. Like I don't have access to any of the functions.
Okay, I can drive that. Let me know when you want me to admit all.
I think we're good. Who does someone want to say like, oh, sorry guys, we're
Yeah, I will do it. I will do it. Yeah.
okay.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1.
I'm in the meeting.
Definitely. Thank you so much for letting me know. Yeah.
Pregúntale.
Hey everyone, we had some technical difficulties. Thank you for waiting on us. We're gonna get started in just a second.
All right, everybody's in? Cool. All right, let's begin then. Welcome everyone. Thank you for waiting. And this competitor online learning session is for the 2024 US Roaster Qualifier competition. The online learning sessions are designed for competitors and judges This 1 hour training is required for all judges and competitors. This training will cover judge requirements, competition structure, score sheets, and any questions you might have. This online learning session attendance is mandatory. These sessions will be recorded. Those who cannot attend the live sessions may watch the recording. There will be plenty of time at the end of your questions. Please note, peer-to-peer chat is turned off during this session. If you have any questions, please type them in the Zoom chat box, and then we will get back to you directly. One of us will also answer your questions. Next slide. So my name is Justin. I'm the chair of US Roster Championship. I'm joined by Vice Chair Silvana and Aaron. Next slide. So now I'm gonna read the harassment policy for the SCA Code of Conduct. Please follow along. So by attending this online learning session, you agree to this harassment policy and the entire code of conduct. So the code of conduct applies to all spaces, both physical and digital, including but not limited to host events, activities, webinar, online communities, and the US chapter of the Specialty Coffee Association social media accounts. All people who attend or interact with US chapter spaces, including but not limited to attendants, speakers, sponsors, hosts, volunteers, competitors, and coaches, are required to agree with the following code of conduct. Organizers will enforce this code throughout events and activities. We expect cooperation from all competitors to help ensure a safe environment for everybody. Organizers, attendants, and participants alike agree to abide by the national, local, and laws with the jurisdictions of any space and events taking place and take full responsibility for any violations and report them to the appropriate organizer's office immediately. Every person taking part in this US chapter event or US chapter sanctioned event is expected to show the ultimate respect to everyone. We will not allow for any kind of discriminatory behavior, harassment, and victimization. The harassment policy. So the SBA maintains a zero tolerance policy for harassment, violent behavior, and sexual offensive behavior or actions. This includes but not limited to harassment towards another individual on the basis of gender, sex, pregnancy, childbirth, religion, creed, race, color, national origin, medical condition, genetic disorder, physical or mental disabilities. And bully stalking using the physical force behavior that created disturbance and or is dangerous, include lure generated offensive behaviors or languages using sexual, explicit, or offensive language or conduct and obscene gestures. And anyone found to be behaving in any way that violates this policy, either in person or online, may be removed from the association without refund and may be banned from future SCA events. Okay, next slide. And everything we are going to talk about will also be found in uscoffeechampionships.org. This is a great home base for you to check it out. So feel free to email to competitions@sca.coffee if you have no issues. And next slide. So for the 2023 to 2024 seasons of United States Roster Championship, USRC, there will be only one qualifying competition leading towards the national championship. So in order to continue to the national level, a competitor must first qualify at US Champ qualifying events. And it will happen in January 16 to 19, 2024 in Houston, Texas at the Power Center. Next slide. So roster qualifier rules and qualifications. So the qualifying competition is open to 32 registered competitors. The top 3 competitors from each of the preliminary will be awarded a reserve spot, and remaining spots will be available for open registration and lottery. At the conclusion, the top 16 competitors from the qualifying competition will be invited to compete at the 2024 National USRC. All competitors and judges are required to attend the online learning session in order to participate at the preliminary and the qualifiers. Next slide. And there's the important note on conflicts of interest. It is not possible to compete and judge in the same competition in the same season. Competitors from the preliminaries may not judge at the qualifying competition, USRC, or World Coffee Roasting Championship, even if they do not advance. Judges and competitors are encouraged to let USRC head judges or the national competition manager know of any potential conflicts of interest at the soonest opportunity and prior to the commencement of any competitions by the competitors, judges, and or event organizers. Fail to declare a potential conflict in advance of the competition could result in disqualification. And next slide. So this is the judges' requirement we are looking for. So for judges' requirements, you need to attend the online learning session and the workshop hosted by the presiding head judge at the competition location. All judges must be fair and honest. All judges must be positive and respectful of the competition at all times. Judges must focus only on the coffee they are evaluating during the cupping. Judges must listen and focus only on the competitor and coffee they are evaluating during presentation. Judges must be prepared for and actively respond to any reasonable questions from the competitors. Judges should refrain from talking with one another during the evaluation process. And next slide. And what we are looking for, the roaster champion are whoever are the person who are able to roast coffee exceeding qualities, can articulate the taste experience offered by the coffee they roasted, can deliver an exceptional overall coffee experience, can demonstrate knowledge of green coffee, exhibit insight and understanding of roasting theories. Next slide. So for this particular qualifier, we have the competition structure. So for day one, we will have the competitor meeting. This is a mandatory 30-minute meeting to discuss on-site logistics. If a competitor does not make advanced plans with the national competition coordinators and does not attend the orientation meeting, they are subjected to disqualification by the presiding head judges. And then we will have a lab practice and green coffee evaluation. Prior to sample roasting, competitors will be scheduled for 1 hour of lab practice time. They will be provided with 350 to 500 grams of green coffee for their green bean evaluation. Competitors with green grading the samples provided for their own reference during the lab practice time. Sample roasting. Competitors will have 30 minutes to sample roast on the Stronghold S7 Pro. They will be provided with 350 to 500 grams of green coffee for personal reference during practice. These sample roasts are for evaluation only and will not be submitted. And competitors will receive time call at 15 and 5 minutes remaining, with the restriction on starting a new roast if they have less than 5 minutes remaining. Okay. And all green and roasted coffee must remain within the competition area and be turning to the stage manager. Failure to do so may result in disqualification. Next slide. And on day 2, we will have open cupping. Competitor will have between 30 minutes to 1 hour of open cupping time, where they may examine and handle either grind, brew, evaluate, color cupping, etc. The roasted samples in the open cupping area during their scheduled time. Practice roasting. Competitor will have between 30 minutes to 1 hour of practice time on the Stronghold S7 Pro. The coffee provided by practice roasting will not be the same coffee that is supplied for the production roast, but a practice coffee for the purpose of allowing the competitor to gain working knowledge of the machines and roast logging system provided. Competitor will receive time call of 15 and 5 minutes remaining. Competitor may not start a new roast if they have less than 5 minutes remaining. And same thing, all green roasted coffee must remain within the competitor's area and be turning to the stage manager. Failure to do so may result in disqualification. Okay, next slide. Production roasting on the day 3. Competitor will have assigned a 30-minute production roasting time. Up to 5 pounds of green coffee will be issued to the competitor for production roasting. The roasted coffee submission must weigh a minimum of 300 grams, presented in the packaging supplied for this purpose. The 300-gram submission will be used for sensory and physical evaluation and analysis. Competitor must place the coffee product on the provided table, then raise their hand and call time to end their competition time. Competitor may call time to stop their roasting time before the end of the allotted time if they so choose. The submission will be completed by competitors before their production roasting time is finished. If a competitor has a post-roast blend, an additional 100 grams of each component should be submitted in the supplied packaging. Competitor will receive time calls of 15 and 5 minutes remaining. Competitor may not start new roast if they have less than 5 minutes remaining for their competition time. And if competitor has not finished their roasting or submission during their allotted time period, they are not allowed to proceed until the submission is completed and they have quoted time. 1/4 point will be deducted for every 1 second over the allotted time from the competitor's total score, up to maximum penalty of 15 points, which is 1 minute. And any coffee submitted 1 minute after the conclusion of the competitive time, which is after 31 minutes, will be disqualified. And all green and roasted coffee must remain within the competition area and be turning to stage manager. Failure to do so may may result in disqualification. Next slide. And then day 4, we will have a competitor Q&A session. This competition does not including a sportive speaking element. Competitors are required to participate in a 5 to 10 minute interview conducted by the MC. Competitors' coffee will be served to audience members at this time. Missing the scheduled interview will result in disqualification. And then there will be a production roast evaluation. Production roast will be evaluated by the 3 scoring sensory judges and 1 head judge. Judges will follow FDA cupping protocols. And next slide, the compulsory coffee. The compulsory coffee will be specialty grade and will be graded and evaluated and approved by the U.S. Roaster Competition Committee. Coffee may not have any additives, flavorings, colorings, perfume, aromatic substance, liquids, powders, etc. of any kind of additive at any point between the time of the coffee is roasted to when it is extracted into the beverage. Now I'm gonna hand the mic to Aaron. He's gonna go over the score sheet with you guys.
Alrighty, so as you guys can see, this is a very different roast plan score sheet for the competition. So as you've probably already gathered by now, the competition is structured much differently this year. We wanted to really reflect more of what's going on at the world roasting stage. So, and kind of bring that to the US competition. So we're a little bit closer aligned in that aspect. So this roast plan score sheet, I'm going to go through and kind of highlight some of the points. Obviously, it looks much different than what you guys are used to using. So let me go to the next slide here, and we'll just kind of break down the score sheet. So at the top here, obviously, competitor name, that's a pretty straightforward. One of the aspects you can see here, it mentions post blend. So if you do blend coffee or blend 2 different roasts, there's opportunity to do that. We just have to know. So that's what this kind of check mark is here for. Yes, did you blend after roasting or no? Right underneath that, you can specify the ratio and the quantity of blending that is required if you are blending. If not, then don't worry about it putting anything there. But as you can see, there's a list of things that are going to be scored there. So you have start and end weight, you have your weight loss percentage, you have temperature, end temperature, color reading. All of these are scored, and the blank spaces are there for you to fill out, and how you anticipate your roasting, how you anticipate your roast plan going to be. So the second kind of column there, if you look over, it says component 2, if applicable. That is if you are blending a second component into your roast. The official use only box there, that's going to be for scorekeeping, but it's essentially just showing, how you lined up, and the accuracy that you achieved. And all of that information in terms of how many points, how do you score a 0, how do you score a 3 on accuracy, and anything in between can be found in the rules and regulations. It has a very specific number for each of those components that if you get a 1, what does that fall under, or how do you get a 3? So just refer back to the rules and regulations, and it's broken down by each section. So you'll see, temperature and how that's scored, color reading, all of that, it can be found in the rules and regulations. Also important to put which unit of temperature measurement you will be using. Just circle one of those. Underneath that is going to be the descriptive assessment. If you've competed in the past, you know that we have gone through and essentially you guys have given flavor calls, and then we check that for accuracy. This is taken from the coffee value assessment. So some important things here when you're looking at this, you're wanting to describe the final cup you plan to achieve by checking the appropriate kata, which is check all that apply boxes, and then adding your notes next to them. So again, that's where we're going to be looking at to score accuracy of those descriptors. And it'll say, like, if we, for example, if we look under fragrance and aroma, it says select up to 5 that apply. It says up to 5. So anything beyond that, you don't want to do. You are encouraged to write extra kind of notes or things that you plan on having perceived in the coffee. There's space for you guys to do that. You also can see kind of the low, medium, high, 0 through 15. These are intensity indicators. And there's another slide here that kind of shows what we expect in terms of that. Let's see. So this is an example here. We'll just take acidity. If you do think that there's going to be a level 6, for example, perceived acidity intensity, make sure that you notate the number and then just circle it, do something. So that way we know that this is the thing, this is what your intention was. Obviously 0 to 5, there's some numbers in between there. If you just put a tick mark, we're not really going to know what that means. So it is important that you add a specific number between the marked values if you are choosing something between, say, 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, for example. Same thing with sweetness, mouthfeel. Just to note here on select 1 is for acidity, select up to 2 on mouthfeel. And that's kind of the roast plan score sheet. The production roast cupping score sheet, again, this is kind of modeled after the World Roasting Championship cupping forms. So there's a descriptive assessment portion of this where the judges, when we do our calibration, we'll calibrate to this 9-point scale. For more information on those specific categories, they're listed in the rules and regulations of how you score in between 0 and 9. Just as a note, we don't anticipate using numbers between 0 and 3 for the competition purposes. So just know that if you need more information on those specific categories and how we score those and what the judges are looking for in terms of flavor or fragrance and aroma and how that's evaluated, we outlined it very specific in the rules and regulations. And I want to say, I can actually tell you guys the specific, just check the rules and regulations. It'll be in there. But we are using SDA cupping protocols, and yeah, this is kind of the judges score sheet. For competitors, obviously you're going to get this at the end of the competition, so you'll be able to look back and get feedback on it. And then judges, this is what we'll be using for the competition. And then I'm going to turn it over to Silvana to go over some commonly asked questions for this competition.
All right. Can I go to the first slide? Oh, thank you. Will I be roasting on site? Yes, competitors will be roasting on site on the Stronghold S7 Pro. Next slide. Do I serve the judges coffee during my Q&A? No, the judges will not be tasting your coffee during the Q&A. They will be assessing the coffee during the roast assessing time. Next. Do I have to participate in the Q&A? Yes, Q&A is mandatory for all competitors. If a competitor is not in attendance for their scheduled Q&A, they will be disqualified. Next slide. Am I allowed to have an interpreter? Yes, competitors are allowed to have their own interpreter. When speaking to the competitor, the interpreter is only allowed to translate what the MC or head judge is saying. Coaches, will I be allowed to have a coach? Yes, competitors are allowed to have one registered coach. Registration for coaches is not yet available, so keep an eye out on the USDC website for that. Coaches may only assist with green coffee evaluation and sample roast evaluation, and they're not allowed in the roasting area. Can I give the audience samples of whole bean coffee or stickers? Yes, after the Q&A for each heat, competitors' coffee will be served to the audience members, and competitors may give samples, stickers, merch, any swag, etc. What coffee will I be roasting? That will be announced on day 1 at the mandatory orientation meeting, but it will be a single origin specialty grade coffee. Any other questions I may have missed in the chat box? And we'll also answer these questions in the email you guys will receive after this recording. What day should we aim to be there? Competitors should be available on day 1 of competition. I believe that open registration is not available yet. The schedule will be ready once we have all the competitors' names, once we have the final list for competitors. That way we can know who to put where.
In terms of the, I see a few questions on the turnout for open registration. In terms of that, we're finishing up the priority registration. So these are people that placed in the prelims or people that were deferrals, or there's another category, the lottery, for example. So we're finishing up priority registration. There should be more information on open registration here in a bit. The roasters competition is always super popular. It fills up quickly. So we're just finishing up the priority registration and getting responses from all of the people that have that registration first. So we'll have more information on that open registration within the next few days for sure. Let's see, a question about rough estimates as to when all the events will be done on the last day. Silvana we're working on the schedule. the last day is obviously when we do all of our cupping, because you're doing your production roasting on day 3. So 32 competitors, it's going to be a pretty full day. I don't anticipate it being earlier than 5. But again, we'll have like a really solid schedule published once we have registration completed.
Now, indoors. Yeah, I believe it will be indoor. Aaron,
Yes.
correct? Yeah.
Indoor.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yep. The Power Center is an indoor venue. Steve said I didn't get an email. Not sure which email we haven't sent out open registration emails. So unless you were someone who placed in the top 3 at preliminaries, you were a lottery recipient or a deferral from Baltimore, I believe, then you wouldn't have gotten communication as far as registration opening. How do you become a pre-qualifier? I'm a pre-qualifier. I'm assuming that maybe that's prelim.
Preliminary?
Maybe, yeah. So those are already completed. We get access to the roast cupping sheet. Also, it's based on the just descriptive form, not the effective form. That is correct. And yeah, we'll be providing the cupping forms and the roast plan forms whenever we have the email sent out about the OLS. So y'all will have that information. Sam, I think Steve is referring to the rules that say the top 6 from USCC are granting a spot at qualifiers. If someone can provide that, we'd be happy to look into that. But the 2023 rules and regulations for roasters could not find anything specific to top 6 from 2023. I know the barista competition, I think brewers, they have it explicitly written into there. But yeah, if someone wants to provide that, we've taken a look at the 2023 rules and did not find that. So yeah, Steve and Sam, if there's something or that's contradicting that, we'd be happy to take a look at that. But yeah, we did look into it and did not see that in the 2020 in the rules and regulations from last year. All right. Hopefully that answers your question, Steve. When will judges be expected to be there? Same time as competitors. So yeah, the judges will be communicating with you guys relatively soon. There will be a separate judges schedule, and we're still kind of working out the details on when judges need to be there. Because we're roasting on site, there's a little bit more involvement on the judges. It's not just cupping. We're going to be doing things like timekeeping, et cetera. So we'll have that relatively soon, and we'll let the judges know as well, Alex. Will we be serving our coffee during the Q&A like prelims? So after the Q&A, there's a slot of time that's reserved for people to be able to taste the coffee. We kind of have it designed in heats of 4. So 4 people will have their Q&A with the MC. And then as soon as that concludes, that heat, the coffee will be available and brewed so that people in the audience can taste it. Available practice time at the Roastronics facility. There is no like USRC, I guess, dedicated time slot for Roastronics. Obviously, they're very involved in the process, but we aren't working in conjunction with them to have any practice time outside of the competition days. So that, feel free to reach out to Roastronics specifically, but isn't something that we can accommodate outside of the competition. So that's kind of between competitors and Roastronics. They would have more information on that, but there is no sanctioned practice time given by the USRC outside of just the 4-day competition. Sam, if you want to email that to us, we can take a look at that. As far as the rule. I believe we have your email, so I can reach out and we can start the thread there. Can anything be added before roasting? The rules say no additives between roasting and service, but it didn't say anything about between receiving green and roasting. No additives between roasting. So the competition coffee that you turn in has to be only the green that is provided to you guys. No additives. Let's see. Ryan, your question about future competitions to get into preliminary rounds is just open registration. I can't really speak to the future competitions. Obviously, this one, there's changes year to year that we can't really anticipate. But it's yeah, unfortunately, we can't really speak to the future prelims, so I don't have an answer for you on that one. Any other questions? No. I think if that's all the questions, Justin, if you have any closing comments?
Not from me. I think we pretty much cover all the questions, and for the questions that we're not able to answer at this moment, we will include in the email with all the rules and regulations, everything to you guys. All right, cool. Savannah, do you have any questions? Anything to add?
I don't have anything to add. Thank you for coming and good luck.
Which roles we will cover?
The last question there, which roast? You guys are cupping the sample roast, not the practice roast. The practice roast is a separate coffee. The purpose of the practice roasting is just to familiarize yourself with the stronghold before you do your production roasting. So cupping will be on the sample roast.
All right, thank you guys for participating. See you guys very soon.
Thanks, everyone. Look forward to seeing you on Houston.